You think you know what failure feels like? Let me tell you about the morning I woke up in my car with frost on the inside of the windows and 11 in my bank account. That was my 32nd birthday. But that's not the painful part, because I had spent 32 years perfecting the art of being a professional excuse maker. And if you're watching this right now with a list of reasons why your life isn't working out, this story is going to make you very uncomfortable. Good. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share will either change your life or confirm that you're not ready to change at all. There's a neighborhood in Detroit where the houses lean like they're tired of standing, where every third streetlight is broken, and the corner store has bulletproof glass thicker than your smartphone screen. This is where Marcus Thompson lived for 32 years. Same house, same bedroom, same view of the same abandoned factory across the street that shut down before he was born. Marcus worked at a call center downtown, customer service representative, $9.75 an hour. He'd been there for 8 years, 8 years of reading the same script to angry customers, 8 years of being yelled at about problems he didn't create and couldn't solve, 8 years of watching younger employees get promoted past him because they had college degrees, and he didn't. His morning routine never changed. Wake up at 6:15 to the sound of his neighbor's dog barking. Shower in a bathroom where the tiles were cracked and the water took 5 minutes to get warm. Wear one of his 3 work shirts, all with frayed collars he tried to hide with his discount tie. Catch the 7:10 bus that smelled like old coffee and desperation. Arrive at work by 800. Clock in. Put on the headset. Become a voice without a face for 8 hours. His coworkers were his only friends. They'd spend lunch breaks in the break room with vending machine food, complaining about everything, about their bosses who didn't appreciate them, about the company that underpaid them, about the economy that crushed people like them, about the system designed to keep poor people poor and rich people rich. Marcus nodded along to every word because it felt true. It felt like solidarity. It felt like he wasn't alone in his suffering. But here's what Marcus didn't realize. Complaining is comfortable. It requires no change, no risk, no action. You can complain for 30 years and never have to face the terrifying truth that maybe, just maybe, the biggest obstacle in your life is staring back at you in the mirror every morning. Marcus's father had died when he was 19. Heart attack at 51. Dropped dead in the driveway after a double shift at the factory. His last words to Marcus's mother were, "I'm so tired." Marcus's mother, Patricia, worked as a home health aide. She'd raised Marcus and his 2 sisters on $9 an hour, food stamps, and sheer willpower. She never complained. She never blamed anyone. She just worked and worked and worked. Until her body gave out at 63, Marcus was at her bedside when she died. Hospital room that smelled like disinfectant and broken dreams. She looked at him with eyes that had seen too much struggle and said, "Baby, promise me something. Promise me you'll do more than survive. Promise me you'll actually live." Marcus promised. He held her hand and promised. And then she was gone. That was 4 years ago. 4 years later, Marcus was still at the call center, still in the same house, still taking the same bus, still eating ramen noodles 4 times a week because they were 19 cents a pack. He'd broken his promise. He knew it. But knowing it and doing something about it are 2 entirely different things. One Tuesday in March, something happened that would crack Marcus's world wide open. He was sitting in the break room eating microwave leftovers when a new employee sat down across from him. Young guy, maybe 25, named Eric. Fresh energy. Designer sneakers that probably cost more than Marcus's monthly grocery budget. Eric pulled out his laptop and started working on something during his break. Marcus watched him, curious and slightly annoyed. "Man, you know lunch is your time, right? You don't have to work through it." Eric looked up and smiled. "I'm not working for them, I'm working for me." Marcus frowned. "What's that mean?" Eric turned his laptop screen around. It showed a website design, clean and professional. "I'm building my freelance business, web design. I do this job to pay bills, but I'm building my exit plan." Marcus felt something twist in his chest. Envy? Anger? Hope? He couldn't tell. "How long you been doing that?" 2 years. Started learning to code on YouTube for free. Now I make an extra $1,200 a month freelancing on weekends. By this time next year, I'll quit this place and do it full time. Already have clients lined up. Marcus stared at him. $1,200 a month extra. That was more than Marcus made in total. Must be nice to have time for all that. Eric tilted his head. "We have the same 24 hours, man. I just spend mine differently." I cut out Netflix, video games, scrolling social media, traded it all for learning. 2 hours a night, every night for 2 years. That's it. Marcus felt defensive. Yeah, well, some of us are tired after work. Eric shrugged, not unkindly. I'm tired too. Being tired is a choice to stop. Being disciplined is a choice to keep going. He closed his laptop and stood up. No judgment, bro. Just saying if you ever want out of this place, the door's not locked. You just got to build your own key. Marcus sat there after Eric left, staring at his soggy leftovers, feeling something he hadn't felt in years. Shame. Not because of what Eric said, but because of what Marcus knew deep down. He'd been lying to himself for 32 years. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He lay in his childhood bedroom staring at the ceiling with the water stain shaped like a hand, and he started doing math in his head. 8 years at this job. 8 years times 50 weeks times 40 hours. 16,000 hours. He'd given this company 16,000 hours of his life and had nothing to show for it. No promotion, no raise, no skills that transferred anywhere else, just a body in a chair reading a script. He thought about Eric. 2 hours a night. That's 730 hours a year. In 2 years, Eric had invested less than 1,500 hours and built something that would change his entire life. Marcus had wasted 16,000 hours maintaining his poverty. The math didn't lie. Shoo. No property. Jakes did knife 30. Call. Do call the radic quadrat out. Call the rids press it. Jew wasted. The excuses did. At 2:37 in the morning, Marcus made a decision. He didn't know if it would work. He didn't know if he'd succeed. But he knew one thing with absolute certainty. If he didn't try, he'd die in this bedroom, in this house, in this life, full of regrets about what could have been. The next day, Marcus did something he'd never done before. After work, instead of going home to watch TV and scroll his phone, he went to the public library, the one downtown with the cracked marble steps and the smell of old books. He sat at a computer in the back corner and typed into Google, "How to change your life when you're broke." 10,000 results, success stories, self-help gurus, motivational videos. Most of it felt fake, like people trying to sell him dreams in a bottle. But buried in the noise, he found something real. A forum thread from 2018 titled, "From Food Stamps to Six Figures, My 5-Year Plan." The author was a woman named Keisha from Baltimore. She'd been a single mother working at a grocery store, making minimum wage, living in subsidized housing. She laid out, step by step, exactly how she transformed her life. Not with lucky breaks, not with handouts, with a plan. Marcus read every word twice, then he read it again. Then he opened a blank document and started writing. Not excuses, not complaints, a plan. His plan had 3 phases. Phase 1. Stabilize. Stop the bleeding. Cut every unnecessary expense. Cancel the cable he barely watched. Stop buying gas station snacks. Make lunch at home. Walk instead of taking rideshares. Save every possible dollar. Target. Build a $500 emergency fund in 3 months. Phase 2. Learn. Pick one skill that could increase his income. Research what skills were in demand and could be learned for free. Commit to learning 2 hours every single night, no excuses, for 1 full year. Target. Become proficient enough to freelance or get a better job within 12 months. Phase 3. Launch. Use the new skill to create a side income stream, even if it's just $200 a month at first. Prove the concept, scale it, replace his call center income within 2 years. Quit and never look back. It looked insane on paper, but it also looked possible. And possible was something Marcus hadn't felt in a very long time. The first week almost killed him. After 8 hours on the phone with angry customers, his brain felt like mush. Every cell in his body screamed to go home and collapse on the couch, but he didn't. He went to the library. He sat at that same computer in the back corner, and he started learning. He'd chosen graphic design, not because he was artistic, but because he'd researched it. High demand, freelance friendly, learnable online for free. Platforms like Canva and Figma had tutorials. YouTube had thousands of hours of training. He didn't need to be a genius. He just needed to be consistent. Night 1, he learned what layers were. Night 2, he learned about color theory. Night 3, he made his first terrible, ugly design, a poster for a fake coffee shop. It looked like a child made it, but it existed. He'd created something that mattered. His co-workers noticed the change. "Marcus, you trying to be smart now or something?" They laughed. Not meanly, but not kindly either. They were uncomfortable. Because when someone in your group decides to change, it holds up a mirror to everyone else's choices, and most people don't like what they see. Marcus stopped eating lunch with them, not out of arrogance, out of necessity. Lunch break became learning time. He'd eat a sandwich in 15 minutes and spend the other 45 watching design tutorials on his phone with headphones in. His sisters called him boring. His old friends stopped inviting him out. "Man, you're no fun anymore. You used to hang." Marcus would just smile and say, "I'm working on something. They didn't get it. They didn't need to." Month 3, Marcus had saved $620, his first emergency fund. It wasn't much, but it was more than he'd ever had. More importantly, it represented something bigger. Proof. Proof that he could commit. Proof that discipline worked. Proof that he wasn't the person he thought he was. By month 6, Marcus had completed 12 full design courses. He'd built a small portfolio of practice projects. Fake brands. Fake products. Fake everything. But they looked real. He posted them on a free portfolio site. Then he did something that terrified him. He applied for his first freelance job. It was on a site called Upwork. Someone needed a flyer designed for a community event. Budget $40. Marcus knew he was worth more than that, but he didn't have reviews or credibility yet. He needed to start somewhere. He submitted a proposal with 3 sample designs he'd made specifically for that client. Custom work up front. Free. 2 days later, he got the message, "You're hired." Marcus stared at those 2 words on the screen like they were a message from another dimension. Someone, somewhere, thought his work was valuable enough to pay for. He finished the project in 3 hours, delivered it a day early. The client loved it, gave him 5 stars and a glowing review. $40 for 3 hours of work. $13.33 an hour, more than he made at the call center. And this was his first attempt, his worst work. He could only get better from here. That night, Marcus sat in his car before going into his house and cried, not sad tears, relief tears, because for the first time in 32 years, he saw a different future. Not a fantasy. A plan backed by evidence. Month 9, Marcus had completed 23 freelance projects. His income from design, $850 over 3 months. Not enough to quit. Not yet, but enough to prove the model worked. Combined with his call center job, he was making more money than he ever had. But more than the money, he'd changed. The person who sat down at that library computer a year ago didn't exist anymore. That person made excuses. This person made progress. His manager at the call center called him into the office. "Marcus, I've noticed you've been distant. Is everything okay? Are you happy here?" Marcus looked at the man who'd been his boss for 8 years, a man in his 50s who'd been in the same position for 20 years. A man who complained about corporate just as much as the employees did, but never left. Marcus saw his future in that man's tired eyes if he stayed. "I'm good," Marcus said, "just focused on some personal projects." The manager nodded, but his eyes said he knew. He knew Marcus was building an escape plan, and instead of encouragement, there was something else in his expression. Resentment. Because misery loves company, and when someone leaves the misery, it's a betrayal. Month 15, Marcus was making $2,000 a month freelancing. Working nights and weekends. Exhausted but alive. Tired but hopeful. He was close, so close to the threshold where he could quit. Then life threw a curveball. His car broke down. Transmission failure. Repair estimate, $1,400. The old Marcus would have panicked. Would have borrowed money. Would have used it as an excuse to give up. The new Marcus opened his emergency fund, paid for the repair, and rebuilt the fund over the next 2 months. Problem solved. No excuses. Month 18, Marcus gave his 2-week notice at the call center. His freelance income had been consistently above $3,000 a month for 3 months straight. He'd done the math. He could live on $2,400 a month. The rest would go to taxes and continued savings. It was time. His manager tried to guilt him. "We invested a lot in training you, Marcus." Marcus almost laughed. 8 years of the same script. "I appreciate the opportunity, but it's time for me to move on." His co-workers had mixed reactions. Some were happy for him, some were skeptical. "Freelancing's not stable, man. You're making a mistake." Some were bitter. "Must be nice. Some of us don't have options." Marcus didn't argue, because he knew the truth. They had the same options he did. They just weren't willing to pay the price, 2 hours a night for 2 years. That was the price. And most people would rather spend 20 years complaining than 2 years building. His last day at the call center, Marcus walked out at 5:00 p.m., took off his headset for the final time, and breathed air that tasted different. Freedom air. He'd spent 16,000 hours in that building. Now those hours were over. The next chapter was beginning. Year 2 of freelancing, Marcus made $68,000, more than double what he'd made at the call center. He moved out of his childhood home, rented a small 1-bedroom apartment in a better neighborhood. Nothing fancy, but it was his, paid for with skills he taught himself. Year 3, Marcus crossed 6 figures. He'd specialized in branding for small businesses. He'd built a reputation. He had clients in 4 states who'd never met him in person but trusted him completely. He'd hired a part-time assistant to handle admin work. He was no longer trading time for money. He was trading value for money. But the most powerful moment came in year 4. Marcus was driving through his old neighborhood to visit his sister. He passed the call center where he'd spent 8 years. On impulse, he pulled into the parking lot. He sat there, engine running, looking at the building, the same gray concrete, the same flickering sign, the same people walking in with the same defeated posture. He thought about the version of himself who used to walk through those doors every morning. The man who thought this was all life had to offer. The man who blamed everything and everyone for his situation. The man who was 100% convinced that people like him didn't get to win. Marcus pulled out his phone and recorded a voice memo to himself. Note to self: you were wrong about everything. You weren't trapped. You were comfortable. You weren't unlucky. You were undisciplined. You weren't a victim of the system. You were a volunteer in your own prison. The door was never locked. You just never tried the handle. He saved the memo and drove away. He never went back. Now let me tell you why I just spent the last 30 minutes telling you Marcus's story. Because Marcus is not special. He didn't have secret advantages. He didn't have rich parents or lucky breaks or insider connections. He had the same 24 hours you have, the same internet access, the same free resources. The only difference between Marcus at 32 and Marcus at 38 is one decision. The decision to stop lying to himself. See, here's the thing about life that nobody wants to hear. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care that your parents were poor. It doesn't care that you didn't have opportunities. It doesn't care that the system is unfair. All of that might be true. Probably is true, but life still doesn't care. Life only responds to one thing: action. You can have all the reasons in the world why your life isn't working, or you can have results, but you can't have both. Because reasons and results don't live in the same house. You've got to evict one to make room for the other. Right now, you're at the exact same crossroads Marcus stood at. You can keep doing what you've been doing and hope something magically changes. Or you can accept the brutal, uncomfortable, liberating truth. You are exactly where your daily choices have put you. Not your circumstances, your choices. That job you hate, you choose to stay there every morning. You don't look for something better. That skill you don't have, you choose to keep it dead every day. You don't take one small step toward it. I'm not saying this to hurt you. I'm saying this to free you. Because once you accept that you are responsible, truly responsible for where you are, you also have to accept that you have the power to change it. And that power is terrifying. Because it means you can't blame anyone anymore. You can't hide behind circumstances. You have to own your life completely. So here's what I want you to do right now. Pause this video for 10 seconds. Look around at your life, your room, your situation, your results, and ask yourself one honest question. If I keep doing exactly what I'm doing right now for the next 5 years, where will I be? Don't lie. Don't sugarcoat, just be honest. If you don't like that answer, if that future makes you sick to your stomach, then congratulations. You just found your motivation. Now do something about it. Here's your action plan, the same plan Marcus followed, adjusted for you. Phase 1, stop the leak. For the next 30 days, track every single dollar you spend, every coffee, every subscription, every impulse buy. At the end of 30 days, you'll be horrified. Good. Cut everything that's not essential. Build a $500 emergency fund. It'll take 3 months if you're serious. This is your foundation. Phase 2, pick your weapon. Choose one skill that can increase your income, not 10 skills. 1. Research what's in demand. Graphic design, coding, video editing, copywriting, social media management, bookkeeping. Pick something that interests you even slightly and has a market. Then commit to 2 hours a night every night for 12 months. No excuses. Tired? Do it anyway. Busy? Wake up earlier. No time. Stop lying. Use free resources. YouTube has everything. Coursera, Udemy when it's on sale. Free trials. The information is out there. The only question is whether you're willing to sacrifice comfort for growth. Phase 3, prove the concept. After 6 months of learning, start doing the work. Freelance platforms, Fiverr, Upwork, local businesses. Offer your service at a low rate just to get testimonials and experience. You're not trying to get rich yet. You're trying to prove to yourself that this works. That people will pay you for the skill. Once you have that proof, everything changes. Phase 4, scale and escape. Keep your day job until your side income consistently matches or exceeds it for at least 3 months. Then make the jump, not before. Don't be reckless. Be strategic. This isn't about quitting fast. It's about quitting smart. I know what some of you are thinking right now. This sounds great, but you don't understand my situation. I have kids, I have debt, I have responsibilities. I don't have 2 hours a night. Let me be very clear. You have time for what you prioritize. If I followed you around with a camera for 1 week and tracked every hour, I guarantee I'd find 10 to 15 hours of wasted time. Scrolling, streaming, complaining, sleeping more than you need. Time is there. You're just spending it on comfort instead of progress. And if you're thinking, but I'm too old to start over, let me stop you right there. Marcus was 32. I've seen people do this at 45, at 53, at 61. Age is not the barrier. Fear is. Fear disguised as practicality. The only question that matters is this: are you willing to be uncomfortable for 2 years to be free for the next 40? Because that's the trade. 2 years of grinding, learning, sacrificing, and building in exchange for a completely different life. Most people aren't willing to make that trade. They'd rather have 40 years of comfort that leads nowhere than 2 years of discomfort that leads to freedom. Which one are you? Here's what I need you to understand. 5 years from now, you will arrive. The question is where. You can arrive at the same place you are now, 5 years older with 5 more years of regrets. Or you can arrive somewhere completely different, financially stable, skill-rich, confident, free. The difference between those two destinations is the choice you make today, not tomorrow, today. Marcus made his choice at 32. Eric made his at 23. Promise me you'll actually live. She's not here to hold you accountable, but I am, and more importantly, you are. If you made it this far, you're different from most people. Most people would have clicked away 10 minutes ago to find something easier to digest, but you stayed. That means something. That means you're hungry. You're tired of your own excuses. You're ready, so prove it. So prove it.